and Buckwood is catching on.
Good.
Yeah, it's 6:30, I'll go ahead and officially open the, meeting for the Public Safety Committee here on October 14th, 2020. I wanna thank all you guys for coming. I wish we could've had more here to discuss this project. But anyway, it's no secret what we're here to talk about. It's the merit system for Vincent's Fire Department. I'm very pro, merit system. I worked on a merit system for many, many years, and, I think you guys should have a merit system when we got ours, or for the police department rather, I don't know, 50 years ago. But, I can tell you things that the merit system did for the police department. If you ask me, I'll tell you, but I just know that they'll have you back. You know, the best people will be hired, the best people will be promoted. They'll have your back during any disciplinary proceedings. You know, the merit system was supposed to take politics out of the department, and, even though the mayor gets his pick, city council gets theirs, sounds like politics are in it, but no matter who we had on the police department merit system or merit board, they always had the officers' backs. And of all the years I was on the police department, I seen them make 2 mistakes. That could be, my opinion, but every other time they were spot on their decisions, I think, so. So actually, I'm pro merit system, and I hope we get a merit system for you guys. You guys have anything to add, or?
Obviously, the last time we brought this up, was it 3 years ago? Sound right? I think the key thing that I kind of got out of that whole thing is, you know, talking with anybody, whether you voted for or whether you voted against. I mean, you would talk to individuals and be like, well, we want to see this happen, but the question is, you know, what does it become? And I think sometimes we got lost in some of the discussion. Maybe we weren't communicating as well as we should have been. And in the end, you know, we're going to take a look at this, and if it's something that we can work together and figure out, awesome. If it's something we can't, that's fine too. Like, I mean, the whole point of this, and one of the big pushes that we've had as a council, specifically as a new group, is we're going to look at everything that we've done in the past, see if we can update it, improve it, and if not, just move on. Because in the end, we've got to look out for you guys, we've got to look out for every department, and we want to make things better. We want to continually improve. So one of the key things I want to do here is, like, obviously, it's really important to listen here. And see what you guys have to say, see what we need to do, how many more discussions we need to have, where we need to go, and if this is even a possibility. Because in the end, we're not going to force you to do something that you don't believe in. Because in the end, that's the system that you'll have to be under. And I know in any position that I've been in, that would frustrate me a lot for somebody to tell me that this is what you have to do, even if I told you that I didn't want to do it. So I think this is a good thing. I think it can be a good thing, but the key thing is we've all got to be on the same page. And that's been a big thing for me. If we're not on the same page, what's the point? So I'm excited to hear things. Like I said, this is a good start just to have this discussion. So I'm looking forward to it. Councilman Gross?
I just want to emphasize this is the first of many meetings that we're going to have. This is going to be a process. Everybody's going to be involved. I've already gotten several calls tonight of people that are involved elsewhere. They're concerned that they're missing out, not going to have their input. Everybody's going to have a chance to put their input in. To us, we can do it individually, wait to a meeting. If you're not comfortable speaking in front of a meeting, we're all available. You can stop at my shop anytime. If I can't make a time for you right then, I'll call you back. I'm available in the evenings. If you want to be confidential, we'll bring what you're saying to us as a group, and then we'll bring it in front of this committee. So I know there's already rumors starting that we're taking ranks away, that we're doing all kinds of stuff. This is the first meeting. We have not discussed how this is gonna play out, until right now. So, all of the fire department is gonna be involved in this.
And like most of the stuff that we've gone forward with, usually somebody gives us an idea or somebody asks, hey, will you take a look into this? And we will. Sometimes it gets to a committee meeting, sometimes it doesn't, depending on if there's anything to kind of back that up. But we take the information that you guys give us, or any department gives us, or any individual gives us, and we're gonna look at it. And we're gonna turn over all stones to be able to see if that's what's best for us as a city moving forward. So, and the key thing too is we want this to be more open and transparent than the last process. Because I know that some of us might have worried that, hey, there were some meetings happening here, or some agreements happening here. That's not gonna be the case. One of the reasons, like, I live stream it is so, not just so people can access the meeting that can't make it, but then we can go back and take a look at it and then see, all right, yeah, we talked about that here, or hey, that helps refresh my memory a little bit. It helps us a lot when it comes to council meetings, and especially too with numerous committees that we all sit on, to be able to go through and be like, all right, that was a good refresher real quick. I remember saying something here, and I can quickly go through that. It also gives other people a resource like, hey, did you think about asking this question? Or there was an issue brought up, did you ever think about this? So then it gives us a resource for people to be able to send those things into us too. The key thing is more information, better for us. And that allows us to make better decisions moving forward.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to force you to take a merit system, but I might try to nudge you that way, because I know what it's done for the police department. I started in '84 in the police department with a bunch of guys that never had a merit system. They told me some crazy stories about the way the rank was done, and the way the shifts were done, and different things like that, and you know, I'm definitely happy that I worked on our merit system. So, but we want what you guys want. We want, you know, we're here for you. That's it.
Our main goal is for you to have the best work environment possibly. So, you know, we're here for you. We're not here because we want this. We've been contacted by several that wish for us to push forward on this, and that's where we are.
And I mean, we'll all be in agreement too. If we get a couple meetings in and we see this isn't being beneficial, I mean, we won't move forward with it. I mean, it's pretty simple. That's happened before in other meetings that we've done where we've come across things. It's like, all right, we think this will work. Ooh, whoa, that was kind of a bad idea. So we're open to anything. So don't think anything's set in stone. Don't think any decisions have been pre-made. I mean, we're here to gather information and go forward. Just taking the notes because we gotta have somebody do that.
You know, as long as I worked under a merit system, I know the police department's merit system is gonna be different than the fire department's merit system, but there's gonna be a lot of similarities. That the similarities will be enough that I could probably answer some questions if you guys have them, as far as, you know, what the merit system does to you guys. And if you have any questions, I mean, feel free to ask.
I got one question.
Yeah.
Funding.
Yeah, the merit board members, they do get paid. It's not very much.
So what's the
$200
police
a year
department's,
probably.
what's the police department's budget on merit system?
You know, I'd have to look. I mean, I did look at it once. I can't really remember what it was.
20,000?
You haven't? No.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, the budget, yeah.
And I mean, just my concern when we're $350,000 in the hole, where am I gonna get my 20,000 from?
That wouldn't come from your budget.
Yeah,
It would not come from your budget.
But so is it too late to add it to next year's budget?
And it wouldn't reflect your budget either.
You know, like, I mean, and if we had to do all right, so we passed the budget last night. Let's say that we decided to go through with this for next year, and here in the next couple of months, we put something in place. What we would probably have to do is just an additional for that year, and then in our next budget process, we would put it in. Would you agree that would probably be
We
easier
just
to
pull
run?
it from the rainy day and going forward, we can easily do that.
But I'm gonna put that down because that's something that does need to be addressed.
What this is it kind of explains the firefighter process, our certifications, how we are, I guess how a merit system for promotions, I guess, is what a lot of this has to do with, and hiring, but boiled down to. So Jimmy, if you look at it, it goes all the way from the very bottom, education level, training, stuff like that. And on the other stuff, it just has what requirements are for each certification that Indiana actually offers. I don't know if you guys, I don't know if you guys have any experience or knowledge of anything like that. So that's just
That's why
some
we
reference.
got Zeppelin is.
As you guys know, I've been in the fire service for 17 years, career for 9.5 now. My only concern is last time, I felt like it was an extremely rushed process. I felt like there was an agenda. I felt like people were trying to get it done at a certain time. I don't feel like that's the case. As long as we take our time, I feel like you'll get 80% of us on board.
Yeah.
But what I was looking at the police department's merit system today, you guys were able to write it out. I mean, you guys have it in here what the requirements were, what you have to have, how, you know, everything, how it was
And that would
scored.
be done, one of the process, I mean, if we did start a merit system, the merit board members would actually have input with you guys on writing out the merit system rules and regs.
That's what, I mean, so that's what I guess our concern was.
I
We
mean,
really
this
just
thing won't happen until probably sometime early next year,
Right.
so.
We didn't, I guess my fear is that we're going to rush it, and then, you know, I was reading the Indiana model merit, where 2 people can be former firefighters, but the rest of them have no experience in the fire service.
Yeah.
And here we're, not only do they have to be educated on our certifications, level of training and that such.
That's why some of your members on your merit board could be retired firefighters.
Yeah, that's what
And it would be helpful if they were,
absolutely.
you know.
So is that, I mean, as they make the rules, do we get a vote on that process, or do they just kind of make the rules and then?
You
we
guys
just
are
have
the
to take it?
experts, you guys would have the inputs on that.
Okay. That's what phone numbers.
And something this important shouldn't be rushed.
Absolutely, that's what I completely agree with.
Yeah, and Rand, I can say too, like, I mean, that process, it did feel like there were, like, even though there weren't timelines, it did feel like we had certain set times to go through, and like, hey, we had to hit it at this point, if we didn't.
And if you go off the Indiana model merit, which I think it's an awesome merit system, actually. I mean, it's laid out exactly how you'd want it. The one thing you have to dictate is, you know, what are your requirements for hiring? What are your requirements for promotions? I do know we struggle with retention. And, you know, that's unfortunate. I mean, we're losing them to Fishers, Terre Haute, Evansville, Vincent's Township. We lost just 2 of them to, you know, when their starting salary is $10,000 higher than ours, you know, so it's hard to retain. So I guess my fear is we're gonna have a whole bunch of people applying for Vincent's Fire Department to get into our perf and then transfer out. And that's just a lot of gear, that's uniform cost, that's training cost, that's time spent training that we could have been doing something more advanced that we're working with these new hires
Absolutely.
with.
We had that in police department.
Right, and I know you're experienced
I
with
mean,
that.
when I started, I think I was making about 16,000 a year.
Wow.
I mean, it was just a stepping stone. And
Right.
finally, through the years, you know, salary got up there where we could actually make a living off of. But we still, especially if we hire somebody from out of town, a lot of times they're not usually happy here. They wanna go back home, or
Right.
they got other dreams.
I mean, we've run into that, you know, same scenarios.
You know, and it's sad when that happens.
It'd be nice to have a way to have some kind of points for,
The thing that I think will be different too, we didn't have a lot of these little meetings beforehand. We tried to deal with everything like as a council as a whole. So I think one of the goals of this is we're gonna take this slow, work it through as a committee with you and us before we would ever take anything to the council as a whole. Because then you start to get into, you know, there's a lot of different things that happen when you get up there. Some people might not be willing to ask a question, or you know, just wanna sit back and listen, where we can sit down here and really work things out, get those questions answered that we need to have answered, and then be like, here's what we have worked on for the last couple months. We're gonna present it to you, process this information, and then we'll come back then we'll have a discussion of the group as a whole. It does make things a lot easier when you can do it that way and have groups be able to work that out and then go there, and we didn't have that the last time.
And then there's another thing is I don't feel like we should reinvent the wheel, you know, I think that Evansville's got an awesome merit system. Indianapolis has got a really good one. But
Evansville had theirs, what, they got theirs like in
He's got
nineteen eighty-three or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at theirs. Yeah, they got,
That's
they got
exactly
a
what
good
we'll
one.
do though, is we will model off of.
Yeah,
And we'll tweak it for, I mean, you know, through the years, I mean, things will have to be changed and rewritten, you know, for us, you know, for our city. So, you know, nothing can be perfect right off, it takes work.
And the only last comment I had was, the amount of money it would cost. It obviously depends how we do everything, but the members do get paid, but I think that we need to look at, you know, like the city of Washington, for example, or Evansville, or Terre Haute. You know, they all do a 2-year process. The list is good for 2 years, so every 2 years they're continuously retesting. For us to be fair, and I think that's what we're all wanting this to be for our promotions and for hiring, an outside company almost has to be the one that does the interviews and does the testing for that. You know, when I did my fire officer 3 and 4 last
What
year.
testing, you talking about the physical testing or the?
No, the written testing for the firefighters and then of course, the interview panel. Of course, there's several ways you can go about that through different departments.
I mean, the police department always done their own, and it worked out.
And maybe we could, I just think that to be completely more open and fair, just a lot of places bring out the third party.
They do.
For hiring?
Yeah.
For hiring and for promotion, that way there's no complete.
I can understand for promotion, but for hiring, it's such a slim, I mean, we don't have a lot of applicants.
No, I don't.
Chief.
I mean, the thing on hiring, we don't wanna lose our CPAT, that's a physical agility test that we make them take, and I think we need to make sure that definitely stays in. Everybody should pass it. We've all passed it, I mean, anybody came on, even back when Mark came on, in the prehistoric, he had to take a physical agility test. And we've got it to a more standard.
They didn't have roads to run on, so how did he?
Dirt.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
He'd go up hills both ways. But anyhow, no, seriously, I think it's very important that you show that you can perform, and it's a non-biased test. It's done at an off-site, so that's definitely one thing we want to keep. But
Where's that done, Indy? Is that?
well, actually VU does it now, so you can do it at Fort Branch or Indy. Fort Branch is the schedule, so it's a nice thing. But as far as applicants, I think we had the last 2 openings we had 10 applicants that we went through. Unfortunately, with the city fire department, we don't have the money to train people. Some of the applicants didn't have their firefighter 1 and 2, so they were kind of left out. There's a couple of the guys are getting it now. So basically, the people that have got the job fell in order to the standards that to meet our job. So the last one was, and you guys just passed it, and that's how Alex got the job, was you move the age down from 21 to 18 because he don't turn 21 until February. So and that's an area I wish you guys are pretty young to be driving fire or holstering a gun for the police department. I personally think, but I wish we'd have kept it 21, but that's no big deal there. But it did open it up for more people. So we had two kids from Vincent's Township that's trained, that's got their firefighter 1 and 2 that fell into that criteria there. So that are 20, but anybody else that didn't get a job did not have all their certs, didn't have their.
When was that drop down to 18?
Do what?
Was that last
You
year?
guys just done it at council a couple of months ago, 18 and 60 or 70, I think.
My thought on that, Chief, was
Yeah, that's right.
18, they can serve the military.
Yep, no, I don't disagree. I just think that
was right.
and don't get me wrong, it's getting hard to get people.
Yeah.
So even for us or the police department, I think it's scary. But I worry
We've
about the
been there,
65 to
yeah.
70 more than I do the 18 to 21. I can tell you.
Yeah.
You got to me, you got to be in pretty damn good shape to be 65 and
Yeah.
fighting a fire or doing the police chasing somebody if you had to.
But the fire department still has to pass physicals at 60, 65 goes to every.
Well, that's, Right.
Yeah, so the physicals increase.
Yeah, yeah.
After that, so.
Like it's supposed to now, 62, you're supposed to take a physical every year, so.
Yeah.
No, but, yeah, as long as, I think the physical agility test, we need to keep it in, and the other testing, I mean, that's up for the board, or the guys, the membership of the board, whatever. And, you know, I'm like, I guess, a lot of guys feel if taking time and it was a trustworthy process, I think that you'd get 80 to 90% of the vote. If it's rushed through, they see politics in it, it's, you know, you're gonna be back to the same division as it was last time, so.
Well, that's definitely something we don't want.
Yeah,
I mean, that wasn't a really good time. I think we can all think back to that, and that wasn't something we wanna repeat at all.
Cause I can tell you, sitting in my position, I don't want the politics. I don't want people calling me, asking me for a job. And I don't want the ranking deal. I would rather push it off and let somebody deal with it, and I don't have anything to worry about.
The merit system takes so much off of the chief.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to discipline, you guys probably don't get as many complaints as the police department, our officers did. Everybody loves parties, you know. I should be keeping a fireman, but anyway, it does take that pressure off of you as well. You can send it to the merit board, you know, let them decide their fate, you know.
Mhm.
But there's 3 men deciding instead of 1.
5.
Or 5 if you have 5,
Yeah.
5 board members. I think there's even some places that have 7 board members.
Yeah.
But on the police department, it's 3. That's why I said 3 all the time. I'm thinking of their board.
You know, while we're here, good thing to talk about would be, public safety, local income tax.
So it's been a long time since that's been brought up, hasn't it? I can't even remember the last time, because we did have somebody come in from.
I brought somebody down from Purdue.
Purdue?
Yeah.
What was that guy's name?
Yeah, YouTube him. Watch his videos.
I got all this.
Yeah, you guys had all the links and stuff, and
That is
he
on
sat
there.
in Washington for a little bit. I mean, it was.
You know, something to think about, Bloomington done this, I thought it was an outstanding idea. So I'm throwing numbers, and it's not actually what they done, but they raised their back end of their longevity up. So no police or firemen ever see this money, but they made it like $15,000, okay? And that's just their retirement, which I know we still have to pay money on it, but no fireman ever gets that money. See what I'm saying? They just retire that much higher, which, you know, everybody's gonna be struggling here for the next few years. It might be something that we look at that really, it don't cost the city a lot of money, and it'd be a good way to retain people, because they'll be retiring at a lot higher money, if that makes sense.
We'll have to look at completely different ways of doing things over the next, I mean, hopefully next year will be one of those years where we're looking differently at things and we start to get back to kind of a normal budgetary process, but we don't really know. I mean, you don't know what's gonna happen day to day, week to week. I mean, if you look at the numbers today that came out for Indiana, I mean, they're terrible. Knox County's in a really good spot.
Yeah.
We really hit a nice spot today, like for schools and stuff. We were looking at ours, we're like in the blue, first time we've been there. We've got the lowest numbers in southern Indiana right now, so I mean, we're kind of in a bubble, but how long is that gonna last? And things can change. Tomorrow, we could have a huge uptick in things, and it's not really going away. So how does that affect businesses? How does it affect schools in session? How does it affect people and their consumer habits? One of the big things I'm kind of curious about, what happens this holiday season? Is it gonna be a boom for our businesses, or is it not? Because if it is, I mean, then we're on a better footing when it comes to budgetary issues than other people around us. And you hear some of our businesses have seen like a 40% increase, which is great, but is that gonna sustain? And those are things that we've kind of gotta look at weekly, monthly, because obviously with our budgetary process this year, even though it was a little bit of a struggle for you guys, in every department to figure out what they needed, compared to other cities and municipalities that are just like around us in similar size, I mean, we're in a great spot.
Yeah, no, I agree. We're fortunate that we are where we are. I don't think we got I think I read somewhere where that with the unemployment kind of raised wages around here, so, you know, our income tax was a lot more, so, I worry about next year, and the third year is when I worry.
Yeah.
Is my worries, not next year, it's the one after, so, and hopefully it's not near as bad, and the economy gets back to rolling, and good little southern Indiana we don't have to worry about things like that, you know, it's just a scare, but, I think we've done a good job, you guys done a good job, and keeping us in financial check, and it's paying dividends for us. You know, for us to get a 1% raise was, I know these guys don't think of it as much, but it was really nice when you're looking at zero.
Yeah.
Cause I think when I came on, we were making a lot more than township, and guys came over from township to the city. Now township, like they're telling you, is $10,000 to $15,000 higher. When you take, and you were part of this, we call them election year raises. We got a raise every election year, so that for what you guys have done to give us raises all these years, really bring us back into the picture. I mean, we still got a ways to go, but it made us, you know, compared to other departments, made us closer to what they're making.
Yeah, I mean, 9 years ago, we were looking at salaries and, you know, with the fire department and police department, I mean, we were at the bottom of the barrel there in southern Indiana, if not all of Indiana, and.
I think our wages came up like 44%, I figured.
Yeah, so I mean, we're getting there. I mean, are we where we wanna be? Of course not, but I mean, we gotta keep working on that and be smart in what we do, so I mean, that's a goal that I know I have, Ryan has, the mayor has, John, you've got as well. So, I mean, that'll allow us to be able to continue to move forward. When you offer good salaries, guess what? You get good people that wanna stay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not just for the department, I mean, you know, in my field in education with schools, when you're able to do those things, you're able to keep good employees.
Tim and I talked about the 1%, and you're right, it's not much, but it is going the right direction instead of the wrong direction. And we were cautious this year, not knowing what next year and the year after that's gonna be. Hopefully, it'll be more than the 3% in the coming years to make up for that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the, like, cause I always kept with him, like, I mean, I bet on ourselves, but you don't wanna take that risk and then put us in a hole that we would be in for the next coming year. Cause I mean, discussing things with our financial advisors, we feel very confident moving into next year.
But definitely look at I think what Bloomington done was a really, really, neat way to do things in trying times like this. So definitely look at what they was able to do for their police and fire, because I want to say they done it 15, which we don't have to do 15, but they put it to where they didn't pay that money out to the employees you just got when you retired, that bumped your salary up, which you still have to pay your perf on that amount of money, but you know, it's enables you to retire at a higher dollar. So I think they use Chicago math or something like
Yeah,
that.
you mentioned that, I always wish I could do something to, where you guys could keep your insurance, at least they, Medicaid. When I retired in 2018, for my wife and I paid $1,033 a month for insurance. So, that's quite a bit. You retire and you lose, you know, part of your salary, and now you're paying a fortune for insurance.
Yeah.
I know that's my dream, but I'd love to do something where you guys at least keep it until you get 65.
No, that would, I definitely, I don't think you find any firemen fighting you over, trying to, cause Washington, they do something, don't they?
Yeah. They do.
So, you know, it is something that different places do, that, you're able to get it, but.
When I went and talked to the city clerk about keeping the city's insurance, it was $1,200. I thought a little cheaper, it was $1,033.
So, you asked a question on the, budget for the police merit.
Yeah.
So I got those numbers if you want them, and it is high. It's $27,600 was the original appropriation, but out of that, a lot of it is stuff that we've taken into your budget now, which is like, testing of new applicants. I think that is in fire department budget?
No.
No, okay.
Also, the only thing we do, on ours is, is in our, pension, they pay for people to go off to and get tested. So your CPAT test, you pay for that out of your own pocket if you wanna come on to Benson City. That's part of the thing, you have to have that before you come in. So there's not and I don't know how you're gonna set all this up and what all testing you're gonna have to do and have made up. You know, that this could be as small or as big as you want. I just wanna make sure that, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm a
You're
bean
ready to
counter.
go, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you guys has figured this out,
No.
so, I worry about the finances, so.
Right, and we appreciate that, and
Yeah.
that's, the biggest reason we're in the position we're in is because of people like you and Sonny in the past. You looked out for the money, and we appreciate that. I can't tell you how many times, grants, you guys just absolutely amaze me at how you can go about getting grants. It's not just our money, you treat it like your money, and we appreciate that.
Sorry about that.
To bring it back to the merit system, one thing you guys might consider, and it's totally up to you, is to contact some of the guys that are gone, even retirees. I think obviously you don't have to call me, you know where I stand, but find out the reasons why they left. Kind of like an exit interview. That's one thing that doesn't happen, but I think that is a great service, or a disservice for not doing that. I think you'll find it's probably not pay that is causing a lot of guys to leave. I agree wholeheartedly with Bo and Brant. Politics in it, absolutely, it's horrendous, especially in the fire service. So I'm sure Brant would be happy to provide you with everybody that's left. Probably within the last 10, 12 years, something like that would be a good place to start. But I highly recommend it, but it's totally up to you guys.
Yeah, they can contact us as well.
Absolutely.
We'd be glad to talk to them.
Yeah.
So. I do think if, hate to talk about morale, I mean, you guys got a great department, and I've always been a policeman, always got along with firemen. But even if your morale's here, I think a merit system will take your morale up here, I really do. You guys aren't really fighting each other for promotions. You're gonna be testing against each other, but if someone doesn't test as high as you, that's his fault. He ain't got nothing against you for it, you know? And I just think it would just help morale. Nobody's gonna be hating each other because they got a promotion and the other guy thinks he should have deserved it, you know?
Besides the concerns that we've already discussed about tonight, are there anything, like, as we start this discussion, is there anything else that you're kind of worried about, or that we saw last time that you don't want to see happen as we kind of start this process and move forward with this?
Yeah, I wasn't here on the last process, so a lot of that's new for me.
John, could you give us some downsides to having a merit system, since you were part of one before?
No.
Not a single one?
No. Having people that wanna do that job, they're not gonna get on that board, because they hate you or they don't wanna be there. They're on that board because they care about you guys. That's always been the way for the police department. These guys, they come in, ride around with us, they talk to us, they get to know us. I don't know one downside to it. I really don't.
Mike, I'll throw that back at you. What have you heard? What's negative
Yeah,
that you've heard?
you got something in your mind?
No, I was just curious since you've been through it, but, I mean, the negatives we've heard in the past were that, you'd get people that were qualified on the books, but not qualified, on the streets, I guess, for lack of better terms, or
Well, there are some foolers sometimes. I mean, yeah, I've seen a couple of those come through. But
that, and then.
on paper, they look like they'd be great.
Right, and then like we
That
talked
does
about
happen.
earlier about how somebody from out of town might get the job and kind of just use it as a stepping stone to go to another department.
Yeah, that's happened.
Or maybe somebody is like their dad's been in the fire service or their third generation or something, and they're getting, whereas, that's somebody that's even local that's like that, they're not gonna get skipped over because they just tested a little bit less whenever, it's kind of a brotherhood, I guess, for lack of better terms, and they're gonna get skipped over just even by half a point or so, so.
No.
I'm sure there's probably more.
So,
It's not a perfect system, but I think it's a better system.
To touch on that last one, that came up a lot, last time. And the reason why you guys didn't hear about it in the council as much as, you wanna do it here is because it went through the union. So there's 3 ways to do it. Or you can do it through the administration, you can do it through the council, or you can do it through the union. The last time, we tried to approach it through the union, so all of the meetings were held within the union. So that's why you guys didn't hear as much about it and the talks about it. Whereas this time it'll be you guys going and organizing it. But one thing to touch on cats that I remember from last time was, in the hiring process, you can allot points wherever you want. So if it is a case of a local person, he can have extra points in the system to start off with than a person, say from Bloomington, Indianapolis, Detroit. You can gear that however you want, even to the point if they have relatives and stuff like that. You gotta be careful with that too, though. But the union's a great point to look into that. But yeah, that came up a lot last
Is
time.
that something the board sets up, like a point system, or is that something that?
That's all at the merit commission, when they form, they write the rules, that's,
Alright, so then
that's
they-
all written in there, yeah.
So that they'd be able to establish.
I
that.
believe the police department added the local resident preference points. I remember young on the job, and there was a big concern, police
Well, when I
department
was hired, they
rotation.
always said I got extra points for being, prior military and being married. They like that I'm settled, I'd be
Yeah.
settled down and I, been through the military, that should be able to handle the police department, so.
Yeah, but I think I
But I
remember
never
them
ever
changing
seen
that
it.
rule. I mean, it's been,
I
20 years ago.
guess it's been a while since I brushed up on that, but cause I remember we had all those documentation and stuff, but like in the end, the board that's picked, they've got kind of the ability to set rules, change rules,
Yes.
and in that process. Like, I mean, we're basically setting the structure, correct? I mean, that's,
Right.
I just wanna make sure that I
Yeah.
get that all.
And then our appointees
Right.
will set up the rules,
With
Yes.
the fire department.
and each one of those can carry its own weight.
So, I guess when we set up the merit board and they're setting up the rules, we do have a say in what, not that, so we have a say what the rules are, but they'll listen to us. We'll have
Yeah,
a-
I mean, I don't think we're gonna put somebody.
Like, we
in
could
there
have a
that's
meeting like
just
this.
be like, you know what, we don't care what you guys have to say. You know, we're gonna put people in there that are probably either former, firemen or community-minded individuals. You know, I think of like with the police merit system, you've got Dennis Cortez, just one of the more community-minded individuals that we have. Kind of puts his heart and soul into everything there, so those would be the people that you would look for. Because like, hey, if you're gonna be on this board is now one of the most important things that you're gonna be doing.
Now, you guys are professionals, you guys know your job. You have to help this board write these rules and regs.
But Brent, I think what better answers your question is you will not directly have input on the rules, but your representative will.
Okay.
So, and not just your representative, whoever we appoint is gonna be working for the merit board. It doesn't matter, if you look at the utility service board, you couldn't, when you go to a meeting, you can't tell who the council appoints or the mayor appoints.
Right.
You can go to any of them, and you have to be forward enough to go and say, hey, I would really like to see this, and then they will be your voice. And if it doesn't work out, then, the next appointment, may not be them.
I mean, that's a good example too, because like, let's use the utility service board for example. I go to Ryan Clark most of the time when I have a question, and that's the mayor's appointment.
Right.
Because I've got a really good relationship with Ryan, so, and any other board that we have set up, I mean, there's people that we have, the community has, the mayor has, anybody else. I mean, nice thing about it, when those people are on those boards, and I'm not gonna say every time, but a large majority of the time, those people are focused on that one issue, that's become their thing, and they wanna make it better, and they wanna improve it. So, I mean, I can't think off the top of my head a bad experience that we've had in interaction with, any board members right now.
No, even if they don't have the answer you want, you go to another board member, and you talk to your friends and say, hey, you need to make this call.
I think to answer your question too, the way I remember it is when they're formulating all the rules and regulations for it, it has to be done at a public meeting and it has to be an open meeting. So whenever they're discussing all the rules and regulations, you would literally be able to go up there on the mic and say, we don't like that, that's stupid for this reason, that reason. And then if they were to pass something else later on that we didn't like as well, it would be just the same, process and everything to go to the meeting, which would also be open and public again. and say, hey, that's not working for us, you guys need to come up with something different. So, I guess we would technically, be there along the way and be able to speak up at every.
Yeah, cause I mean, they've got, open door policy that they have to follow, but I mean, obviously, you guys would be there, we would be there, because we're invested in this, we wanna see it work out, and we don't wanna sit back and be like, you say, well, we don't like this, and then they go forward, no, that's not how we want this to
No.
work.
It will be ever changing. I mean, nothing is gonna be written in stone.
Right.
It'll be tweaked along the way.
If somebody's appointed to the board, how long are they, like, let's say we do have, like you said, maybe some ex-disgruntled employees and you meet with them, and how do you choose out of that group who you feel comfortable putting on the board? And then if they are disgruntled on the board, how long do they stay on it before they're replaced?
Well, we hope that you would have enough trust in the council and the mayor and, yourselves to pick the right person to be.
Usually when
Can't
we,
guarantee, that ever, but,
I wasn't here for the last one, I was
yeah.
starting the hiring process when that began.
They do have term limits.
Yeah, and I believe it's 2-year term. Is
I think
that
that's
I
set,
think it's two,
it's part of.
they're
Two,
different.
two of them are two, the
Yeah.
first two are two, and then the next two are four,
and then is it 4
I believe
after
it's
that?
at four.
Yeah.
But then it rotates where you've got, like,
Every
it's
2
very
years,
similar to
there's
what
2
we've
and
seen with
3.
everyone else, so you've got a constant rotation of, new bodies in there to fix like, if there is an issue there, and talking about like, hey, we do talk to some people that might be disgruntled. In the end, we take information in, I mean, we're not gonna just talk to them and that's the only point that we're gonna have, I mean, we're gonna talk to everybody. I know Brian, John, I like to talk to people, so we'll take as much information as we can get from things, and you're gonna be able to kind of put stories up and see how things go, and be like, well, this might be a little bit exaggerated here, or, this doesn't match up to what, the other person's saying. So, once you get those kind of lined out, it's kind of clear what's happening in that process, and we really do take a lot of time with the people that we do appoint to our boards, because in the end, like, we can't be at every meeting. I mean, there's a lot of meetings that happen all the time. Like, there's a meeting right now that I would like to go to, that Solar Farms having its first reading today, because I was just kind of curious about that. But this is more important, so this is why we're here. We've got to be able to rely on those people to go to those meetings, and not just relay the information to us, but stand up for what we've agreed to stand for. Like, I mean, they've got to be our voice on there, and if that doesn't happen, then that's on us. But at this point, we've had good appointments. I know the mayor would say that the people that he's appointed to boards, he's been very pleased with. So I'm not saying that it's perfect. I'm not saying that you're gonna eventually run into somebody that you put on there, I'm like, man, I can't wait till that person's off. But we've got a pretty good system in place, and it's worked pretty well.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you can vote somebody off of a board, even though you've appointed them, right?
Yes,
It takes a majority.
it takes a majority of the council.
That can happen within like the 2 years?
I'm not positive on that, but.
I could probably clear that
I
up.
believe that is.
Whenever the council passes an ordinance establishing them, and then we call a meeting and pick our member for it, which way we decide to do that, and whatever term limits they decide to go with, if we all decide that we don't like them for whatever reason, we can call a meeting the same exact way we did the first time and vote them out for our representative, and then vote in a new one
But
to
that's
replace it.
just our representative.
Just
That wouldn't
ours.
be,
And I'm pretty sure
Anybody
the
else.
council.
The
can do
same rules would
same.
apply then for.
Yeah,
the
the same
mayor,
rules apply for
rules
the mayor,
apply
yeah.
for the council too. So it'd be one of those things that you do have a rule set in place to be able to do that, whether you have to create that rule when it comes to that point or not. I
you're
don't
right.
think it's
Yeah.
like initially there.
So a starting point, are we looking at you doing the state suggested or mandated or whatever
Was it the model merit?
model merit system?
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Is that what we're looking at?
I mean,
Is that our starting point?
I think that's a good place to start there and look at that to see if that's the one that we wanna go with, or if there's something closer or similar to that. The key thing is, like we said, we don't wanna reinvent the wheel here.
Right,
A lot of the
because-
ordinances that we do with the trailers, we talked with Brad about having those structures on properties that aren't, permanent housing, but, they were using RVs. Well, Bicknell had an ordinance, we're not Bicknell. So what we did is we took Bicknell's ordinance and retrofitted it to make it work for Ben Sinn's. We do that with all kinds of ordinances to make things work. We looked at Bloomington and Indianapolis when it came to like the complete streets ordinances that we do. That's the one where if funding is available, you put sidewalks, lighting, bike lanes on a road. Now, the key thing that we did different than Bloomington is Bloomington says when you do a new road, you have to do all these things. What our ordinance says is if you do that road, you look to see if you can do that and funding is available. And if funding is available, you do that. So you look at things that you can do that benefit you and make things better for you, and that's what we'll do. So like if we just have a starting point to go with, that works for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, like when you talk about Evansville or Indianapolis, their merit system's already put together, their rules are in there. That's not something that the membership decides. We
It's
just
something
decide the
like,
structure.
Hey, I look at this and you could relay that to the people that you're going to appoint to the board, like, you know, here's something for you to look at, this is what we like. We like these rules, we like this here, we like this section. And that's information like not just you, but we can relay to the people that we would appoint as well. Because I think what happened a lot of time, last time, we got into the weeds of what the rules were instead of the people that we were going to appoint to those boards.
Yeah.
Like instead of saying, hey, here's a group of people that here are some names that we're looking at, and here's some names that you guys are looking at. Are these people that we can trust to put a system like this together? Because I think in that end, like, yeah, there's people in the community that we're all gonna trust and feel very comfortable with moving forward. But last time we were getting in the weeds of, well, we want this rule laid out here and this rule specific laid out here, and we're gonna fight over this.
Well, I think it just got too personal last time.
Well, yeah.
I think you could have put two guys, two different people in it, and it probably wouldn't have been, but, you know, that's hindsight's 20/20, that's why we're here now again, but.
Like, I'm sure each one of you has somebody in mind that's retired, that would be good on the board.
Well,
Maybe
unfortunately, there's only X amount of people that live in the community that's retired, so, you know, or, you know, city employee or whatever. But I mean, that's for,
But as a retired fireman,
yeah,
because they're gonna know your system, they're gonna have some sort of insight that somebody that stopped fireman wouldn't have, they would need to pull that information from you. So,
I mean, I don't,
we,
personally, I don't necessarily think, I think a teacher would be a good person, I mean, you know,
I love
we're all under the same structure, you know, so it's, you don't necessarily have to be able to go out and fight a fire to be on the board, you just gotta.
No,
You just
I'm
gotta be
just
good at
saying,
knowing
I'm just,
right from wrong and
Yeah.
how to more
I
business
think
minded.
the big thing, like I said earlier, I think we find community-minded people.
Yeah.
The people who
Yeah.
care about the community.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, as far as you saying it's all glory, I can think back about years, and I don't have to mention name, I know a guy that controlled that board that made it brutal on all you policemen.
on the fair board,
Yeah, so I mean, you can get people like that does it on the bad side of it, but, you know, there's good and bad on all systems, and I'm not going there, I'm just saying, you know, you do realize that there are a possibility to get bad people on there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like we said earlier, like, we know it's not perfect, and there's no perfect system, but the key thing is what can we do and what steps can we take to make things better, not just in your department, but around the city that's in. I mean, every day we've got to ask that question and see what we can do.
And I mean, saying on that, I think as long as you keep it open and transparent, I think it betters your chance of getting it through and doing that, so.
yeah, we certainly don't want to step on anybody's toes, we just, you know. wanna do
Because,
what
I mean,
you
in
gotta
the
do.
end, you guys are the experts in your
Yeah.
field. Like, I mean, I'm in education, John's a retired police officer, Brian's a business owner. So in the end, like, we've got to rely on you guys. I mean, I'm not gonna say that I'm an expert in this, I'm not. I mean, I spend my day dealing with putting out fires in the corporation. Well, different kind, emotional fires. So like, moving forward, what do we wanna do next? Do we wanna look at kind of a template of something and kind of discuss that?
Or
Well, I
just
think
have
first
another
Michael
meeting.
ought to call a union meeting to get everybody together and tell them what's going on.
Well, have another meeting, or.
No, I'm
Not
talking about
a bad
Michael have a
idea.
union meeting.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the best route to go and you,
I think we should definitely, we have one scheduled for tonight actually, but we're at the office, so we had to postpone that.
right,
So we'll have one next week and fill in everybody on what's been said here tonight and encourage
Well,
people to
and this might be a good one for then, you guys have a union meeting and you tell us what next step that you want us to take. Like,
That's
do we
easy.
wanna have another informal conversation like that? Do you want us to bring kind of a template to start looking at and moving forward? I mean, it's up, like I said.
I think with
it
us,
is up to you guys.
the best thing to do would be to have everybody get together and talk it out, you know, as the guys before we move forward, you know, entirely with anything. Because, you know,
No, you gotta have buy-in.
The majority
You gotta get
wants.
People wanna do it and what the majority wants, because if you guys go to your union meeting and it's like, no, this is a dumb idea, alright, we're with you.
Right.
But I do think if you guys do decide to vote on it, all firefighters decide to vote on it, I think it should be a blind vote where nobody knows who voted what.
Right.
Really, that's how we always do it in the police department, that way nobody got any hard feelings against,
That's the way it was last time, John.
was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
right.
When we say majority, do we mean like a majority by one vote or a majority by 80%?
It's
Or,
interesting, last time it was voted down by the firefighters, what, 20 to 18, something like that, so there's 2 votes that voted it down.
I mean, with it being so split, how do you go forward with something when
I
either
think-
direction?
Honestly, I think this is where we're starting to get into problems again, because
Yeah.
this is what's gonna happen. We had to vote last time,
Mhm.
and to go forward with it, which it was put out that we're, to move forward with it, I think you need to leave the voting out personally.
Okay.
So, last time they voted to go forward, and then they seen the numbers were going away, and then they said, no, we're not gonna vote again because it did.
Right.
And that's where, or it was rumored that, I'm not sure that it was actually said that or not, you know, and that's where the room and the friction. I think it's, in my personal opinion, move forward with it, let's start talking, coming up with things. And then when we get, where we're going with answers, then I think it personally would be a good time to
I
vote.
agree, I agree.
Yeah, I like
I
that
really
too.
do.
I like that too.
We,
So-
we need to move forward like this is gonna happen. And, you've already done research, you've got the Indiana State one pulled up. I think you guys need to discuss amongst yourself what you would like to see in it, and then bring that back. And people for and against it need to be able to feel free to
Yeah, like, I
reach
mean,
out and
we're not
talk to
gonna,
people.
like, if somebody came in here like, this is dumb, this is stupid, we don't, like, here's boom, boom, here's the next, like, this is what this is for. Like, I mean, and I think that helps us even make things better. Because like, all right, so can we answer those questions? Can we make improvements there? If we can, awesome. But, I mean, I think just having these discussions, we're getting somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's like last time. I think if we'd put a couple people trustworthy to run it and get the ideas and communicate between everybody. And I still would feel we have those people on the fire department that everybody kind of feels they trust that's going in the right direction. I think you're moving in the right direction.
Alright, so, I don't wanna speak for the group as a whole, but Michael, you guys have your next union meeting, we'll discuss it, topics that you want us to talk about at our next time. I mean, I think that would be the best route to go, and then you get back with us, and then we have another committee meeting over those topics that you discussed in your union meeting.
Easy enough.
and I think on the next meeting, is there a way that we could do this at headquarters?
Well-
Set something up like this at
Those good
headquarters?
twos.
I was waiting on that.
Pull the trucks out.
Can we just pull the trucks
Yeah,
out,
let-
put chairs up like this?
Yeah, we possibly could do that.
I don't wanna put you in a
Well, I don't,
bind, but I would like to see it happen.
it's kind of hard for, I guess my problem is it's kind of hard to be protective on COVID and not protective on COVID. You know, why not, how about the water department? Can we,
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
they got a
we
big
use the
room
water
there
department
to where we
anytime.
could social
Yeah.
distance. I mean, I don't have a problem with, I'm just scared if, I think that we're right now, we're in the COVID, the peak of it. And
No, we're gonna be
I've
there
got a
for
guy
a
that I just got a call from on the department that, you know, possibly he's getting tested on it. And we've got a water, department guy and a street department guy or person
Yeah.
that possibly, so I just don't want us to get a bunch of people around here and.
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll just, whenever we get, information back from you, then we'll just plan on, we'll be at the water drinking facility.
Yeah.
Alright, cause we got that's now kind of our our secondary location.
That's our new classroom. We've got several state classes going on through there now.
So that's where we'll meet next time. It gives us plenty of space for whoever wants to come. I mean, hopefully we can get as many people as we can, but, that'll work fine there, and Kirk's given us the okay to use that whenever we need to.
Yeah, it's a great place to be.
Yeah, well, it's big enough we can scatter, so.
Yeah,
But I just wanna get as many people, of your people that's on duty, I mean, you guys are obviously on duty, but just as many people that wanna come to be there, whatever we can do to help accommodate that.
No
we're
problem
willing
with
to do
on-duty guys going out to the water department.
Yeah, when I set this up, I didn't know about the.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, we had a few
Well, that was
things going
one
on in
that-
the county today. We got grass fires popping up everywhere, so.
I sent a text, to the other councilman saying, I really think we need to cancel this and
Yeah.
reschedule it for tonight, cause I, was listening to their radio and, seemed like everybody was gonna be gone, but Tyson said that's more county guys.
Yeah.
You think that's because of the drought?
Yeah, well, most definitely, yeah. It don't, with the combines, if they don't clean their filters out, you can start a fire pretty easily, so.
And with this wind today.
Yeah, brutal.
Man,
I just think the biggest thing, at least from what I heard from the meeting coming up, was the timeline. Everybody was really scared we were just gonna be another rushed.
Yep.
Last time, we had to get it done before January 1st because it can't go into effect to the next January 1st. We didn't wanna feel rushed. As long as we're not,
we aren't gonna be rushed.
we can take our time, we can really dive into it, get into the weeds of everything and figure this out. I think everybody would really seriously be on board.
yeah, the timeline is, we don't have a timeline.
That's what we like.
There are no timelines.
And I figure we're gonna have a lot of meetings.
That sounds good.
And I think that's the biggest difference you're gonna see, is this is gonna come out of the committee to the council, ready to go. And it's gonna be a simple, it's gonna be either a simple yes vote, or it won't even go to the
Right.
council.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't have something that's, acceptable for you, for us, the mayor, I mean, what's the point of bringing it out of committee just to have everybody fight over it? Okay. I mean,
Well, you'll have fights over it.
Yeah, you're not gonna make everybody happy.
yeah.
There's gonna be somebody that's gonna disagree with this, and we just have to agree to.
I'm sincerely mean this. I think everybody's on board with the merit system, as long as there's a time. As long as we have time to look at each position. Right job analysis is what really needs to be done on each position. And what certifications are required with that? What level of training? How much experience? And as long as we can sit down and break down, I think a lot of guys are going to be on board. I sincerely mean that. But that's not something we're going to be able to do in the next 2 to 3 months. Is what everybody was scared of, was a January
I
Monday.
mean, we're gonna take our time. If we have to hit pause at certain points, we'll hit pause. I mean, I think we're all committed to making things, just continue to improve things, not just in your department, but everywhere. I mean, that's the goal in the end.
Just out of curiosity, you have anybody retiring coming up?
Tyson.
Maybe not.
Couple weeks?
I mean,
Maybe not.
honestly, maybe not, but even if he does, you're not gonna get any more applicants than we've already. I mean, like I said,
Well, I don't think hiring is the issue for a lot of guys.
Tyson's retirement place right now.
You called me retarded. John.
Has anybody got anything else
On that note,
on that one? Anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
is that second?
Alright, so John, are you good with, we're gonna let Michael have the union meeting, they'll come to us with, topics that we'll be able to discuss, and then we'll set up our next meeting from that point, and we'll meet at the, water drinking facility.
Is there a time frame on, like, the next meeting? Is it gonna be like,
No,
I said, when is your?
We haven't rescheduled it. Today's blue shift, so I figured we'd reschedule it for whatever shifts, or what blue work next week.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
So I'd say either Monday or Wednesday we'll probably have it.
so we'll be able to know within the next 2 weeks.
Just need to know a couple of days ahead of time.
Yeah, cause we gotta have a 48-hour window to be able to notify the press. And then we just gotta make sure that the facility's open because a lot of people have been using them. I know RDC's out there tomorrow. I think KCBC's been using it a lot lately too, so we just need to make sure that we schedule it. And I don't think many people go out there at this time. Like mostly it's throughout the day and stuff like that, so we pretty have free reign. And we'll just figure out what day it is, so.
Yeah, basically, so we're saying,
He'll get us.
you set your meeting, and basically 2 days after that, we will have this meeting, if it's possible.
Yeah.
Because we have to have 48 hours of notice.
And I mean, it could be longer than that, like, so. Like, I
That's what I'm
think-
saying, is it like gonna be all a quick process if we meet, then we meet here, and then,
Just depends if we can get in and
Okay.
meet that week, if that works for you guys. So let's say you have a meeting on Monday, I'll say, all right, maybe we can meet Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday. Oh, that doesn't work for us. All right, we'll push it to next week. Like, I mean, we're not gonna, continually like this, we have to meet at this time, we have to meet within this window.
There are just certain things that we have to meet as an open forum.
Like, the only thing we're saying is like, we just have to make sure that we have a 48-hour
Okay.
window
Yeah.
I got
to be able to announce when we meet. Or we get scolded.
I'd say that we'd probably do ours on a Wednesday, and 4 days after that would be a Friday. I think you'd have a tough time getting anybody to come here on a Friday night, so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 weeks at minimum would
Yeah,
probably
so
work
I
for
mean,
us.
we'd be looking like a Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
You good, guys?
Yep, good.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys coming in.
You guys need help picking up?
Yeah.
We're good.